Hey everyone, alright, here we go, part 4. As you can see, I got the baffle installed. And just to give you an idea, that mag subbing versus that last section over there, it's a pretty intense hole. So I got plenty of water room over there. The baffle is probably about maybe a 16th of an inch lower than this third baffle over here. So it's not a big deal. I'm probably going to go with a secondary and a third baffle on this side. I don't know yet, we'll have to see. That's really basically it. I mean, siliconed in, looking good, of course. Not quite as good as the original tank manufacturer, but we don't care as long as it seals up nice like it's supposed to. You know, it's all right for what it. Plus, I had to go heavy anyways because it is acrylic. It's a 1/4 inch acrylic, which is actually really simple to cut when you're using the circular saw. Just get a decent blade. It doesn't have to be a very fine blade. As long as it's got a carbide tip on it, you're good to go. Also, I see a lot of people talking about too much water coming back out of their tank into these things, and they're worried about flooding them and whatnot. So, but before that, I just want to let you know, here's one thing. This is how I stopped a lot of water evaporation. And this was on the original do-it-yourself when I had done it. I made a lid, which completely stopped the evaporation of water to where I was adding very little water every week and a half, because of the fact that it was not drying out like it's drying out when you have this thing off. So maybe that might be a helpful idea to some of you, to put a lid on top of these things. I mean, you can run the bulkhead straight down like I did. Of course, this is the old one, so the new one, of course, the bulkhead will be over in here somewhere. And then that cutout was originally where the one skimmer was at, so that's going to be back over in this area. I'll have the skimmer over in here now. And then, of course, this is the outlet where the actual return line comes out of for the mag. So this will all be filled back in. And then, you know, there's enough room in here to slide cords through, but that can also be cut out. And all this is just a hole saw and then 2 straight cuts. It's not a big deal. This is just a circular saw up to a point, and a circular saw up to a point. All you do is just watch where your tooth of your actual blade stops, so that you don't go past it and make like a groove here or a groove here. So, but other than that, I mean, that stops so much evaporation. You know, it's just a nice sealed unit. It looks nice. It's clean. You don't have to worry about crap getting inside there. Because down here, as you can see, all my screening supplies and whatnot, this is where it happens when it comes to the screening world for me. Alright, so a lot of dust and shit ends up down in here. So, you know, you want something like this over the top of everything. And another, okay, now the other thing was the actual, there's a nice big pleco for you. 12 inches long. Okay, is massive now. Alright, but anyways, what I was getting at is on the overflow, a lot of people keep talking about too much water coming out of your tank. Well, on your standpipe where your actual intake water comes in, see that hole? If you drill that hole appropriately where you want your water level to be, when your tank does drain back down, that's it. That's all you're going to get drained out of there. So you see where my hole is. I mean, mine is that it's evaporated a little bit of water because the lights have been on for the last 2 days, and also the fact it didn't have the actual overflow running, so it evaporated a little bit. But that level right there is just a little bit over 1/2 inch. I would say probably 5/8 of an inch. That's it. That's all the level that it drops. So you figure maybe maximum at 2 gallons of water. I doubt it. But I'm hearing people say like 4 or 5, which just seems ridiculous that you're having that kind of water coming out of the top DT when you really don't need that to happen. As soon as you drill in this hole, that's your siphon break. Once that thing starts sucking air, there's no more water coming out. It's got to stop at that point on that side. So that's just a heads up. Try to help some people out here. Sorry, I'm over here knocking things over. But and the other thing that I did, I went ahead and connected the skimmer inside there. It's that Coral Life 65. You see how it's got its own power head with a valve on it. And it's got this overflow box. It's got a sponge in it. And as you can see, I'm getting micro bubbles like crazy, but it was a lot worse. What I ended up doing was, you can see that black sponge inside there, maybe, but there's a black sponge inside there. Usually there's like a felt pad down at the bottom of that, and then from that point the black sponge sits up on top of it. Well, I never had this thing up in my DT before, so I never had this kind of bubble mess going on, which is crazy. So what I went ahead and did was pulled out that filament that they got in there, slid that sponge, which has got a hole down the center of it, slid it all the way down to the bottom, and then filled that thing up with the polyfill in the center. So I filled it up. That way, that helps trap them bubbles, because that filament thing that they give you is just a piece of junk. So I don't know if you can see down in there, but there's a white filament down in there. Well, you can see it's kind of white, but that center circle right there, that's the white filament inside there. So that helps it out a little bit, but once it's inside the sump itself, I'm not really going to care. But I mean, if anybody has that problem with like micro bubbles and whatnot, this is one way to help slow them down. It could, you'd have to pack a little bit more in there, but I'm just giving you an idea. See how there's still micro bubbles coming out of it. It must have like changed a little bit, but once you adjust things and whatnot, you can eliminate that. The main thing is not to block that actual box. You don't want water overflowing out of the box. You want that water to flow down through its grates. See how the water is just getting up there, but it's not going over? You want it to come out them grates that are down here on the bottom of it, right there, those little thing. I don't know, it's just kind of a weird design. I might actually come up with something else. I don't know, we'll see. I really don't care about it because, like I said, it's probably going to be in the sump, and these bubbles probably won't be an issue for me. But as you can see, it's actually working. It seems like it's working better up here than it was in the sump. But that's probably just based on the way I had it set up down there. I don't know. It's working good though, so everything's looking alright. Nobody's looking like they're complaining too much about the chaos that's going on at the moment. All the fish just staying low instead of up high, probably because of all the bubbles. Starfish, he managed to figure out how to get out of the sand. I can't really zoom in on him too much. He's back there in that bright light, parsnip sticking out. So, alright, anyways, that's what's going on. And I'm going to go ahead and probably start another baffle over here on this thing. And then I'll keep you updated from that point. Alright, so anyways, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.